Okay, welcome back to Daily Driven Alpha. Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, for those of you who are watching us from overseas. Right now it's summertime for us and it's hot and humid. But we're a bit excited today because we've just been to the machine shop, and for those of you who live locally, I've mentioned them before. We've got engine reconditioning in Capalaba, or ELC Reconditioning is their business name. These guys have been really good, and I don't promote a lot of products or try and sell stuff on our channel. All I do is share information with others when I think it's worthwhile. These guys are coming up to Christmas, they're busy, and they don't do classic car engines a lot. They do a lot of high performance stuff, and just their attitude was, bring it down, let's have a look, let's see what we can do. And they fitted this in along with some Conrod small end bushes when I needed a bit of help, and they turned that around within about just over 2 weeks. So we are very stoked, and we're very happy with their service. So thanks to them. Let's have a look at the head. We've just got it. Just take the plastic wrapping off it, and I've got it up on one side on a block. We've just got to make sure that we are careful that we don't turn it over. Whenever you get your head back, don't flip it over flat, because you'll often have some valves protruding, which we have. So on number 3, the intake's open and the exhaust is open on number 4. Done a lovely job squaring it up and cleaning it. This was ported and polished prior to us taking it to them. We got in and we just cleaned up this a little bit more using a small Dremel, using some very fine sandpaper. And just be careful when you're doing this that you don't start altering the return radiuses within your ports. So, you know, while you think you're taking more material off and it's going to be better, you can actually make the engine perform worse. So you have to be very mindful of what you're doing there. They've hot washed these, bead blasted them. They've put a helicoil plug in the back of the head here, where they've opened up one of the plugs, and they've pressure tested all the galleries. They've checked for the hardness of the head in case it had been overheated, looked for cracks. This head's in pretty good condition. We're pretty happy. 4 new valves in it, and these are the old valves, and there wasn't enough material left on the edges of these valves here, so we bought 4 new valves. They cut one of these valves down just to help get the reseating, and there's only just a millimetre left on the edge. The problem is, if you put your valves back in like that, the edges start to burn, you get material coming off, and obviously that's not a good thing. So for the sake of 20 bucks a valve, why wouldn't you when you're here? We replaced the buckets for the tappets, and you can see that there's a little bit of wear. I mean, that's sort of standard on these, but we thought if we're going the distance, we might as well replace things while we're here. I checked the valve springs. Valve springs were within 5% of each other. They were okay. They didn't have too much sag in them, so we've reused them. And they've also done some work on setting the make sure that that's okay. Okay. They've done some work on setting the heights and the clearances. So they've done all the valve pressure settings. They've shimmed them, and they've put new cups in underneath, and this is all just covered. It's nice and slick with assembly lube. The gaps. So talking to one of our friends here who races Alphas and is an engine builder, and who's been giving us some advice, his advice was the factory setting for the 1600 is 0.017 of an inch on the intake and 0.019 on the exhaust. Those are the factory specs. The engine builder we spoke to here was saying, wow, that's noisy, that's pretty big. And so we spoke to our engine builder and said, can we go to 0.016 on both and build in some tolerance? And he said, it's on the lower end, but should be okay. Now the engine builders here who do the high performance stuff said they would prefer to see it that way, and they say that way you'll concentrate on the exhaust note, not the noise coming out of the engine. Anyway, my feeler gauge is metric, so I've got it at 0.4 mil, and I've got a 0.05 here as well. And I'm just going to check to see how that goes with some of these lobes that are open. 0.45 won't go. I think 0.43 is the 0.4 goes in there, and that's nice. That's fairly tight. This one's open as well. You can have a look at that. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So that's all right. Not that I don't trust them, but as they say, trust and verify. Always just check. And one of the things that I noticed that with the engine builders, they've made sure that they've marked the valves for the right numbers again. So if they ever come out again, you know which valve goes with which one. So that's where we're sitting at the moment. Heads back, we're happy. Waiting for the piston rings to arrive from the UK, and we can install those. Now, let's have a look at this. I'll just bring this round for you. So we cleaned up the pistons, and this is piston number 4. We've just gone in here with very fine sandpaper, degreaser, and made sure that we clean everything out, and pistons looking nice. Get all the gunk and rubbish out of any of these ports that are in there in the oil rings. Also get into your compression rings and make sure that that's all nicely polished and clean. We used a couple of the old rings just to check to make sure that there wasn't any variation in these gaps. From what we've seen on this engine, it's in pretty good condition. I don't think that it's been abused. I think it was just a little bit old and tired. So we've got the new bushes in, and I'll bring this over. So when you get your new bushes, they will be oversized by about 10th thou. And of course, what happens is you go to put your gudgeon pin in, or your wrist pin, and it won't go. What they do is they send you these bushes oversized so that you can go and get them reamed out and then honed beautifully to fit your pins to get the right tolerance. And so we've just got these back, and they are sweet. That is really nice. So one thing the engine builder did say to me is he said everyone carries on about little end bearings or these bushes. He said the reality is this is not where your problems always come from. So he tended to think that people talk about these as being the problem, but in actual fact it's probably further down in the motor. So what we'll do is we'll just see if this goes in here, which it does. So we'll have a look at that. Just pop that in there. There is an arrow on your for the direction, but I'm not worrying about that right now because I just wanted to see how this fits in here, and that's going in beautifully. If you're finding that something is binding and it's difficult, don't force it. You've obviously got an issue. When you come to building engines, this I on one of these bushes. I thought, oh, it's a little bit tight, I might just press that a bit, and I ended up scoring the bush, and I had to put an older bush that had plenty of meat back in and press the new one out because I damaged it. So that was into the rod. So if it doesn't fit, don't force it as much as you want to. So that is moving beautifully, and you can see that we've got some movement across inside as well, and there's no slop. That's going to be lovely. Looking forward to that. Right, so there's a little bit of an update there. Now what I'll do is I'll take you and let's have a look at what we're doing down here. You'll see in the background there we've got the back parcel shelf of the coupe. I've done some work on it, just repairing it a little bit, and cut some foam. I'm going to lay some foam over it. I'll show you that. But let's go and have a look at the coupe. I'll just show you where we're at there with a couple of little things, and then we'll come back and we'll do this. Okay, right. Let's have a look at the coupe. So we've put in the seals on the side. Now, one thing that I've done, the seals that come with the car have got a thick metal insert that is galvanized to these that fits over the steel frame, and I just don't like it. So what I always do is take a very sharp razor blade and carefully remove that outside seal, which is a flat one, and that's how they were on the original, and then I glue it to this frame, right, get a nice fit in the door. And then we've taken the screws, you know, back in the day these screws always rusted out, an absolute pain. So what we've done is drilled them out, got some black rivets, and we've just riveted them in. And we do the same with the channels, right? That way you don't have any of these issues, because, you know, trying to unscrew those things further down the track is just a nightmare. You're better off just drilling out the aluminium and punching them out. What else have we done? Okay, we've done the roof. Got that tidied up with some foam. Put in some padding just on the back deck, and we've put in the badges. Now, why would you put the badges in now? You know, ahead, this far ahead. Well, if you don't, you have to get in here to put them in, and we want to put the headliner in. So they have to go in first before you start doing the headliner, and these are an absolute pain to get in here with these little clips on the rear. So one of the tricks that you can use is a small socket or a small ring spanner with some silicone on it, and you can use these little plastic clips, and you can stick it into your socket or your spanner, and then you can gently get it in there and help ease it on, and then finish it off with a pair of pliers or your fingers. I managed to drop about 4 of those down there yesterday. Beauty. Right, so I'll have to go and find them, blow them out with some compressed air. Starting the foam. So for us today, we're going to get in here and do the rest of the foam across the top and also down the A-pillars, do all that. And then we'll also start to do some of the firewall and some of the front sections in prep for the trim. We're leaving the floor undone for the time being because we're constantly in and out of here and we don't want to tear it up. One of the things you'll notice is that we've got tape across the edges here, and this is, you know, even just getting across with cotton pants or whatever it is, you will start to scratch and damage and chip your paint. So try and tape up everything as much as possible. So that's where we're at. Got some gasket kits and bits and pieces waiting for us so we can start to rebuild sumps. So this is all the engine building. Got a couple of the taco cables in there, and some seals and the like, engine tabs, bits and bobs. Right, So that's where we are. We're starting to slowly get there and work the coop up. So what we'll do now is let's get onto this, and you can see what we've done is I've taken the old card, and I mean, to order one of these from the UK is expensive. So if you can reuse this, I know this board isn't the best, but you know, it's original. Try and salvage as much as possible, unless it's too far gone. I mean, doesn't look pretty, right? There were some holes cut in the back of it from, I think this was an original speaker hole. They used to have like a rectangular speaker here. And then of course, over the years, people have cut holes for speakers and stereos. I don't put anything like that in a car. I'm not listening to music in these cars, I'm listening to the engine, but that's just me. So anyway, we've cut some pieces of board, put that in, and that's dried up with our epoxy glue. I've also put a little bit of tape over there just to try and smooth this out. You won't see it over the foam. The foam will go over the top of this, so hopefully that'll be okay. But what we'll do now is we'll just quickly glue this on, and I'll just talk you through that, as simple as it may be, and then we'll have a look and see how that comes out. Okay, right, what we've done is we've cut this foam to be just slightly larger than the actual piece itself, only a couple of mil, because what we want to do is be able to just get this lip and just wrap it round just a fraction, just so it softens that edge a bit for the vinyl as it goes over. Right, so much better to cut it a bit wider and then trim it than cut it too short. A lot of people cut it right to the edge like that and then go round. Yeah, you can get away with it, but what it does do is it leaves this hard edge here. But what you do need to be mindful of, in some applications, if you do wrap it round and then you put the vinyl on, you may build up too much material for where you're going. But for this on the back parcel shelf, it doesn't matter. It's getting pulled down and it'll sit down with a frame around it, so that'll be fine. So what we do is, one of the things you can do is just, you'll notice that the edge here, I'll just bring you in here and show you. The edge here is, I've put the edge a little bit away and we've still got enough there. And then when we flip it over, what we'll do is we'll retain that edge like that. And this is where we'll spray, so that we've already got that ready and in place, so we're not guessing how it's going to sit on. I'm sure there's other motor trimmers out there that can probably do this a lot easier and a lot better, but anyway, that's the way we're doing it, and it seems to work. Worked for the last one we did. Just double check, make sure that we've got that right. Yep, that looks good. Okay, we're just using a spray glue. Sika is a product. It's expensive, but it's pretty good. Obviously, on days like today, you find that this stuff goes off pretty quickly because of the heat. So. The only thing I'm just watching is I've got a bit of overspray heading towards the coop, so I might just stop there and just reposition. And I'm going to put a fan so it blows it this way. Okay, that should be a bit better, and obviously you want to be downwind or upwind of when you're spraying, so that you're not inhaling the stuff That's better. Now that's all drifting, sorry, towards you. Now, I like to give the edges a good coverage. You don't have to spray the entire surface, right? You just need to get enough to get it stuck on. That's that surface done. Let's do this. While the manufacturer says wait several minutes for this to go off, on a day like today, this goes off pretty quickly, so we should be able to position that on here fairly easily. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's gone sort of dry, tacky already. Now, be careful that you don't fold this then and end up with a crease in the middle. So you need to be running it across. This is the difficult part, especially when you're doing it on your own. So what you want to be able to do here is start with this edge and get this section on first. Don't press too hard, because what you can do is you can actually start to glue down sections that end up with valleys in them, and that'll show when you go through and put your vinyl on. I'm already seeing some little lumps and bumps here and there, but I think it should be okay. Right. So tonight what we'll do is we'll get some vinyl, we'll cut that out, and we'll use a staple gun. It's not hard. You know, any of your hardware stores will have these, right? We'll get a staple gun, we'll flip it over, and we'll just bang staples through. Now the only thing you've got to watch is don't get staples that are too long, because they will come through here, and then when you put the vinyl on, you may perforate the vinyl. So get ones that are just long enough to get through and get some purchase in there. It's already glued on, all you're doing is really securing it, so you don't have to, it's not a structural thing, it's just really to tidy it up. So that's where we are at the moment. So I hope you've enjoyed this update. It's a longer one than normal, and we're working away in the heat here, and we're trying to get this this coupe progressed. We'll do some trim, and once the piston rings get here, we'll start getting into the engine and do a little bit of engine rebuild. So I hope your projects are going well. I hope your preparations for the festive season are going well if you celebrate them. Like, subscribe, share this channel with others, and you know, always happy to hear your progress and your comments as long as they're respectful. So thank you very much for tuning into our channel. We certainly appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you on the next post.